I'm Jocelyn Forbush, Executive Vice President of the Trustees, and though we're coming to you virtually this year, I'm so happy to be here near Boston's beautiful waterfront with some exciting news to share with you all. First, I'll invite you to take a moment to close your eyes and imagine. In front of you stretches a beautiful green park that touches the waterfront. Families are sitting on picnic blankets, joggers running down paths, a couple meets for a first date, and a musician is setting up in the middle of it all. Your eyes shift down the landscape as it slopes towards the harbor, where land meets water. Native grasses and plants line this area, a bustling habitat and buffer to floodwaters. As youth from the neighborhood join a sailing class just offshore. Imagine something like a Millennium Park, a Highline, an iconic park of world-class design that befits a world-class city here in our own backyard. This is the vision of our Boston Waterfront Initiative, launched in 2016 to bring a series of accessible, resilient, and iconic parks to Boston's vulnerable waterfront. The last 7 months have certainly shown us that having access to public open space is more important than ever. Today, I am proud to announce we have received official designation from the Massachusetts Port Authority as the site developer for a new waterfront park in East Boston, Piers Park 3. Currently, this parcel is an abandoned pier sitting adjacent to both Piers Park, which opened to the public in 1995, and the future Piers Park 2, which is currently in the design phase. Piers Park 3 will not only provide much needed and desired open space in a busy East Boston neighborhood as a place for gathering, exercise, recreation, and access to the water, but will also help address some of the climate resilience goals championed by Mayor Marty Walsh in his Resilient Boston Harbor vision.
Boston is a city that was literally built on the sea. Take a look at a map of the city from the early to mid 1600s, and you can see that many of the sections that we enjoy and call home, the Back Bay, Chinatown, Fort Point Channel, the South Boston waterfront, or the Seaport, and in particular East Boston, simply didn't exist. These neighborhoods, business districts, industrial zones, and marine ports were built over tidal flats, claiming more land for the city from the ocean. With much of its present-day shoreline built on man-made reclaimed land, Boston is a waterfront city facing significant challenges in the near and long term from rising sea levels. Many residents will recall the bomb cyclone of January 2018, the powerful nor'easter a few short months later, and more recently the bomb cyclone of October 2019, which set a record as the strongest October storm ever for the Boston area. Remember for a moment the images of inundated T stations, flooded roads, and damaged businesses and homes. And it's not just storm events that threaten our coast. We're beginning to see more instances of sunny day flooding too, when higher than usual tides inundate roads and infrastructure. The city recorded 7 high tide flooding events in 2019, but according to an NOAA report released this summer, Boston could have as many as 95 high tide flooding events in 2050. Some have suggested building a harbor-wide barrier, a system of gates and walls that run from Winthrop to Hull, to guard against the high tides and storm surges. A study conducted by the UMass Boston Sustainable Solutions Lab in 2018 found that such a solution would be far too costly and difficult to implement. Mayor Martin J. Walsh and his administration have released several plans to build resilience along the edges of our waterfront. These plans, including Imagine Boston 2030, Climate Ready Boston, and the Resilient Boston Harbor Vision, call for the building of additional green open space, natural edges, and living shorelines to protect the city from both storm surge and tidal flooding.
Notably, Boston is a city which recognized the benefits of parks and open space early on, and it was this belief in the healing power of nature that spurred the founding of our organization. Trustees founder Charles Eliot worked along Frederick Law Olmsted to contribute to the designs of Franklin Park, the Arnold Arboretum, and the Fens, and played a critical role in shaping Boston's metropolitan park system shortly after founding the Trustees in 1891. Today, the Trustees benefits from the great diversity of our places. We are the largest private landowner of coastline in the state, a stunning 120 miles worth. We're caretakers of amazing cultural spaces like the De Cordova Sculpture Park and Museum and Castle Hill. We're stewards of outdoor recreational sites and a fantastic network of 56 community gardens spread across 8 neighborhoods in the city of Boston. Since March, when the rhythm of everyday life shifted, a surge in appreciation for the simple pleasures and health benefits of outdoor recreation has led to much talk of more needing to be done to ensure people from all walks of life have access to parks, to trails, beaches, and gardens, both today and in the future. From the start of this process, we have envisioned this as an exciting opportunity to create iconic, world-class open space. The East Boston community, the City of Boston, and our partners will be integral to this effort moving forward to ensure that Piers Park 3 becomes a welcoming, engaging, and special place for today and for future generations. As such, engaging directly with the community to ensure that any proposed designs are equitable, accessible, and align with current needs and neighborhood concerns is our top priority. With that, I am pleased to introduce Massachusetts Port Authority's Chief Executive Officer, Lisa Wieland.
On behalf of Massport, I am thrilled to express our excitement in joining the trustees in this public-private partnership to bring a unique space to the East Boston waterfront called Piers Park 3. The vision of a park to bring people out to the water's edge and connect with Boston Harbor will serve as a wonderful complement to Massport's existing network of parks. From the award-winning Piers Park to Bremen Street, from Maritime Park to the Tommy Butler Memorial Park, Massport is proud of these terrific open spaces. Altogether, we own and operate over 35 acres of green space in both East Boston and South Boston. We will add an additional 5 acres of park space when the Massport-built Piers Park 2 comes online. Thousands of people enjoy these parks each year to celebrate events, mark milestones, or simply enjoy the beauty and tranquility they offer. The park means a lot to the community, but they also mean a lot to us. Our staff takes pride in their work. They care for the parks with the same attention to detail that they use for their own backyards. So we are thrilled to work with the trustees, an organization that shares these same high standards and has an unparalleled record of conservation and stewardship, managing some of the most iconic public spaces across the Commonwealth. The goals the trustees have for Piers Park 3 actually align quite closely with our own. To be a strong and engaged community partner, to provide high-quality public open space for the residents of our surrounding neighborhoods, and to build on existing resiliency efforts in the face of ongoing climate change. Piers Park 3 will certainly further all of these goals. We are also pleased to see the trustees' commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, not just in the design and construction of the park, but in their outreach about the park and its programming and its usage. We applaud the trustees for working closely with the East Boston Piers PAC, while also reaching out to and encouraging input from everyone in East Boston. I want to acknowledge the dedication of the funders and supporters of the One Waterfront initiative. Providing significant dollars and pledges toward the park's development has given Massport great confidence the project will be fully funded and completed on the anticipated time frame. You know, at any time, but particularly now, it is heartening and invigorating to look ahead to a dynamic and creative design process, and then ultimately to a spectacular new waterfront park in East Boston that's open to all. Our best wishes to the trustees, the board, and all of the members across the Commonwealth for this One Waterfront event. We look forward to a long and successful partnership.
When I think about the word community, I think about people that come together for a common good. I think about places that have fond memories. We are both part of a community here, building community and creating community. Hello, I am Janelle Woods-McNish, Managing Director of Community Impact at the Trustees. Our work to build resilient parks across Boston is a part of our mission. It's core to our mission. For 125 years, we have worked to conserve and preserve special places across Massachusetts. Now we are creating those special places. We are prioritizing community involvement and input as part of our process because we believe firmly that it is important. These parks will be part of our legacy as we look ahead. Legacies of special places for families, communities, and everyone to enjoy now and forever. Inviting someone is just not about an invitation. It's about the opportunity to co-create, not just to enjoy something, but to be part of the creation of that enjoyment. So it's important to hear the voices of the community in building this park so that it's accessible and that everyone feels like they are invited to this beautiful park, that it's not just the trustees' park, but it's the community's park. I think the best communities are those that you co-create together, those that come together for a common good. We'll be asking ourselves and our community questions about imagining what this park can be for our families, our community, and for the future.
What made me become a waterfront ambassador is the idea of helping a community. I feel like one of my values is that I always want to help out whenever I can. That's one thing I really appreciate from the program. Hi, my name is Sergio.
And my name is Emily.
And we are the Waterfront Ambassadors.
I live in East Boston, and this summer I got to explore more about my neighborhood. We did a variety of different outreach strategies.
What we did was we asked a variety of people through surveys, social media platforms, about what they want to see in different parks, especially a waterfront park.
After talking to a lot of people, they said that they wanted more family-friendly places, and they wanted more places along the water and places that they can relax at, as well as open spaces where they can play basketball or play soccer.
And many people said that they wanted to see more green area, places where they can hang out, and overall a beautiful spot that is appealing to the eye.
And all that data that we collected just helped us see what people in our neighborhoods wanted from the neighborhood.
The Sailing Center believes in people empowering themselves. We do a variety of different programs. The purpose of all of them is to make the harbor more accessible so that everyone has a chance to get out and be on the harbor, enjoy the islands, and just the natural resource that we have here in East Boston. And the way that we do that is by getting them out to explore all of the different parts of the harbor. Many times when we go out there, the kids have the entire island to themselves, and they get to see the beaches and the natural environment that exists there that on many of the islands is really unchanged from how it would have been hundreds of years ago. And that gives them a unique perspective and sense of how important it is to keep the harbor safe and clean and take good care of it. And for a lot of kids, that becomes a lifelong passion for them. It's really important for us to be closely connected to the community and a good representation of the community. So most of the people that are involved in the program are from our neighborhoods here in East Boston. And really our goal is to get to a point where every kid that lives in this neighborhood has the chance to come and learn how to sail here if they want it. We want to have a community that is resilient because they're able to get out on the harbor and enjoy the waterfront.
During my time with the Waterfront Ambassadors, I learned a lot of issues that I didn't know were impacting East Boston, such as sea level rise. Most of the information that we got back resulted with a lot of people not knowing much about climate change. After we gave them specific facts, they were really concerned when they heard that climate change would affect their neighborhood. To start off, I think that first we should focus on informing all the people who live in East Boston so they can do individual things that will help against climate change. Secondly, I think that we should add structural solutions to climate change. For example, along our harbor, we should add more green spaces because when there's more green spaces and more trees, the trees and the plants can absorb the water, so there'll be less flooding.
The Trustees has long been involved in protecting vulnerable coastal areas and become concerned with these impacts on our city. Whether our North Shore or at our island properties, our coastal team has been identifying the needs to address impacts related to storm frequency, rising tides, and changes to our beachfronts to protect our coastal places for the enjoyment of all and to plan for the future of our coast. Many of the issues that we face elsewhere we also find here in Boston, but in an urban context. With that came the opportunity to apply what we are learning about resilience to our work here. Boston's waterfront is a critically important place to be focusing our energy as a conservation organization. Its health impacts the largest population in New England, and the time for action is now, before the opportunity to preserve open space is lost forever. Piers Park Phase 3 represents a fantastic opportunity to create new green space in East Boston that is resilient, welcoming, and designed to withstand the challenges we face in the future. We are proud to work with Massport, the City of Boston, Mayor Marty Walsh, and the people of Boston to create this park as an example for the work to come.
Boston Harbor shaped our city's history, our economy, and our culture. It's the reason our city grew into a national and global hub and a welcoming port for generations of immigrants. In order to grow sustainably and build a healthier, more equitable future, we need to protect and enhance our green spaces and our beautiful waterfront. This has been a major focus of the City of Boston. We've made historic investments in our citywide network of parks, gardens, and other natural areas. We recently became the second city in the United States where every single resident lives within a 10-minute walk of a park as part of our focus on equity and environmental justice. Investing in green space is really an investment in our community health and well-being. They bring communities together, and they are home to some of our most iconic public artworks. Many of our schools, nonprofits, and cultural institutions use them as event spaces and performance venues. Our parks bring our city to life. Parks are also a key aspect of our work to prepare for the impacts of climate change. Through Climate Ready Boston and our Resilient Boston Harbor planning efforts, we're strengthening our entire 47-mile coastline with a system of parks, trails, and beaches. To protect our neighborhoods from floods and storms, we're working with nature, not against it. These spaces will absorb floods and improve quality of life all year round. At the same time, we're expanding public access to our waterfront so that everyone in our city can enjoy the most precious natural resource. The COVID-19 pandemic has made it more clear than ever how important it is for everyone to have access to green space. This year, our beautiful parks have taken on new significance. They provide a peaceful escape from the day's stress. They are places where people can exercise, stay healthy, and safely gather with friends and family. As we work towards a healthier, more sustainable, and more equitable future, our parks and our waterfront will play an even bigger role. In this work, we're proud to have strong partners like the trustees. Working together, we can go further. We can be creative and develop beautiful, inclusive, world-class waterfront parks. And Piers Park Phase 3 is a great example of that. Piers Park will be a new Boston landmark, one that people from all across Boston's diverse neighborhoods will enjoy for generations to come. That's why the City of Boston is excited to work with the trustees and Massport on this project. And we look forward to starting new local traditions at Piers Park in the not-so-distant future.
I want to thank our supporters of this effort thus far, whose mission, vision, and passion aligns with the work ahead. You are our peers and colleagues in this work, but we're also proud to call you our friends and partners. Thank you to our CEO Roundtable members, led by our fearless chair, Ron O'Hanley, CEO of State Street. Thank you to the Barr Foundation and others who have joined them. Without your leadership, none of this would have been possible. And thank you to the many private and family foundations who have answered the call, and to our governance, our members, and our existing and prospective partners who are asking the right questions and turning to the trustees for answers and for deeper partnerships. The outdoors is meant to be open and inclusive, and so is the work to protect it.
Hello, I am Ron O'Hanley, Chairman and CEO of State Street, and I am honored to co-chair the CEO Roundtable for the One Waterfront Initiative. The Trustees Boston Waterfront Initiative team has assembled a task force of senior executives from Boston-based companies across a wide spectrum of industries. Our purpose is to help shape the vision and action plan for Greater Boston's vulnerable waterfront.
I grew up in the Boston area, and when I was a kid, my father took me to Castle Island. To him, that was Boston. The shore, the harbor, the potential. And so when I think of the Boston Waterfront Initiative, I think of myself as a young child, being in that special place in Boston, and just wanting more of that to be available and accessible to our residents.
Green spaces just gives you a sense of connection to nature and to a part of yourself that really is quite unique in today's environment. Creating a network of signature parks along Boston's harbor brings new people together to strengthen our communities and protect this land for generations to come.
What's amazing is that the Waterfront Initiative not only makes these areas climate resilient, but they're building parks. I think about the Seaport and the other areas that are being developed. They're becoming amazing features of the city, and at the same time, we're doing the right thing to protect the city from flooding.
The One Waterfront Initiative will bring some really good design features to the parks that will address both the community needs as well as the environmental impact.
I think the parks are going to bring our community together, and I think this will be an important step in the resiliency efforts of our city.
Not only will the new parks provide natural buffers against rising sea levels and protect vulnerable waterfront neighborhoods, they will also act as a magnet to bring diverse families from all over the city back to the waterfront for recreation, entertainment, and community building.
To me, the One Waterfront Initiative creates the opportunity for accessible, climate-resilient open space that serves the needs of diverse communities and brings value to our vulnerable city on the coast.
One Waterfront's focus on the resilience and accessibility of Boston's green space aligns with our promise as an organization to provide protection for the unexpected. Giving back to the communities in which we live and work is deeply ingrained in our culture at Liberty Mutual, and we're so proud to support One Waterfront's efforts to preserve our city.
At Blue Cross, we're focused on affordable quality health care, diversity, equity, inclusion, and supporting the most vulnerable in our communities. One Waterfront connects directly to our commitment to support public health.
So our purpose at Ocean Spray is connecting farms to families for a better life. And connecting the community with a better life through the Waterfront initiative, where we're doing the right thing for the community but also the environment, is incredible. So it really fits hand in glove with what we're attempting to do every day at Ocean Spray.
The ability for Mass Mutual to be part of this, to help make Boston a better place to live for everybody, to have access to open spaces, to create climate resiliency. These are all things that just make a tremendous amount of sense to us, and I'm really excited to be part of it.
The three words that best describe my hope for new waterfront parks on Boston's harbor are resiliency, diversity, vibrancy.
Beauty, community, and resiliency.
Sustainable, healthy, and inclusive.
Community, innovation, and a future focus.
Each of us in our companies are committed to working with our government leaders and great civic organizations like the Trustees to build a more climate resilient Boston and celebrate the diversity that makes our city great.
Everyone needs to have access to open space. Everyone needs to have access to the water.
Spaces that make people from all walks of life feel welcome and connected. At a time like this, when we are seeing an incredible amount of questioning around climate change, we really should be focused on spaces that help preserve our city for future generations to enjoy.
We hope these new spaces motivate more Bostonians to get involved in the community and celebrate the diversity that is our city's strength and the catalyst for our future success. We are the One Waterfront CEO Roundtable.
With that, I am pleased to introduce Boston's Children's Chorus with an inspiring virtual performance.
When we walk, when we sleep, when we rise, we are one. When we laugh, when we sing, when we cry, when we run, we are one, and we shall love one
There's many things that I find special about East Boston, but one of the most important things is how diverse it is and how nice the people are and how many different backgrounds you can find.
Our programs are really about bringing people together from different generations and from different backgrounds and just having one common interest that they can enjoy together. And having the chance to go out and be on the harbor with each other is something that really makes this neighborhood special.
In that co-creation work that we'll be doing together, we'll be imagining together, building together, and creating together spaces that we can all enjoy together.
Celebrating and complementing existing and planned parks, the design for Piers Park 3 will take full advantage of its unique East Boston location, providing the community and park visitors with a stunning experience of the New England coastline and new green infrastructure that will contribute to the protection of this vulnerable waterfront. We will involve residents in the park and program design to fit the needs of the community. In the case of East Boston, this includes engaging and involving one of the most dynamic, diverse neighborhoods in our city. The Trustees intends to weave diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging throughout the Piers Park 3 design, construction, and operations phases. Working alongside community partners, we will draw on over a century of expertise in public open space management to deliver a new signature destination for all to enjoy. We are thrilled to be well on our way, having already raised $20 million for this future park. In closing, I want to note that this newest reservation will hold special meaning for our organization. It is a homecoming for us and a reminder of the very reason Elliot founded the Trustees all those years ago. In Elliot's own words, quote, "As Boston's lovers of art united to found the Art Museum, so her lovers of nature should now rally to preserve for themselves and all the people as many as possible of these scenes of natural beauty which, by good fortune, still exist near their doors." We want you to be part of this effort, and we'll be posting updates on our website at onewaterfront.org on how to get involved. Please join us. Together, we are creating One Waterfront.